I'm Anna, and this is my teaching philosophy. So the first question I'm going to answer is, what is the purpose of schooling? The purpose of schooling is to provide stability in a child, young adult, teen, or adult's life. It is meant to excite a possible passion and to educate people beyond that of our innate senses and abilities. Without schooling, we would have nothing, whether it's material or not, because to create anything, you must first learn how to create something. My second question is, what is your image of a learner? I believe a learner is a lightly drawn-on canvas. It is close to impossible to receive an empty canvas when a child enters school. They're already taught so many things from their original environment and were born with so many innate abilities and attitudes. Instead, we can take those poorly drawn negative lines on the canvas, fix them while keeping the finely drawn lines that show us parts of the result we'd like to see within the child, and continue to draw over them until we realize what colors that they themselves would like to be painted with. Every child is a different color palette, and in the end, we don't choose that for them, but we can help find it with them. That is when we can truly create the beautiful image that is a learner. There's no such thing as an empty slate, as we all come from somewhere and are all born some way. My next question is, what should be the nature and substance of students' work? Students should be learning in school, obviously. They should be interacting with the learning material as well. I don't believe school should be all worksheets and writing papers, but instead it should involve discovery through play, games, and or experiments. If we approach schooling like this, a child may be able to learn how they learn best. Not every child can learn through doing 10 of the same problem on a piece of paper, and not every child can learn through play and experimentation. There should be a very healthy balance of both. Some children need to be able to touch and interact with the learning materials or have open discussions with classmates about it. This way of learning can unleash creativity within a child's work. Their work should look like their work, like they understand what they are doing. Work should be diverse and give the child a chance to find other ways of solving the problem they are learning about. Many topics are not just cut and dry, and I believe it is very toxic when a teacher tries to teach a lesson as if their way is the only correct way to solve it. My next question is, what is your image of the curriculum? I believe following very strict curriculum can be toxic for the teacher and the students. There should be some leeway with curriculum because some students and or classes may need more time on a lesson and some may not. A teacher should be able to place their own creativity with curriculum into it instead of having to follow a high state standard. I'm not educated enough in curriculum, especially Common Core. I don't exactly know what the boundaries are within it, so I don't want to keep going with this, but I definitely believe curriculum should involve creativity on both sides while also still holding certain state standards. My next question is, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced this word, what is the preferred pedagogy? I don't know if I pronounced that right, I can't remember. I believe discipline-oriented teaching should be the last resort. As teachers, we must be understanding and have a heart for all the students. So I believe a harmonious approach works best with students because it shows them that you are empathetic and would rather help them solve the problem instead of ignoring them and sending them straight to the office. Middle schoolers love to see a teacher that genuinely wants to help them. As a substitute, I've subbed in every single grade, but when I would sub in the middle school, I would hear so many students complain about teachers who send them to the office constantly rather than talking to them first. It's toxic, and I'd really like to put an end to the harsh disciplinary measures many middle school teachers use. Of course, if disciplinary action is needed, take the correct course of action, but if it's not, don't resort to such harsh measures. Middle schoolers need someone to talk to. They're going through a lot at that age. So instead of yelling at them and telling them to go to the office, we should sit with them, ask them how their day was, and dig a little deeper. My next question is, what is the preferred school climate? Teachers who have a positive attitude towards students and staff reflect a healthy learning environment. That being said, no favorites. I do not like teachers who have favorite students. I understand that there are some students who get along with best, but those students should not be treated differently compared to students you don't get along with as well. And I've seen time and time again when teachers don't get along. It affects the students because in the end, if the teacher is too focused in their interpersonal drama, they aren't focusing as much on the students. Having staff that creates an uncomfortable environment can also create a very high turnover rate for new teachers. New teachers don't want to be in a school where they feel like they are disliked because it can be hard for them to approach the job confidently. It may also be difficult for a new teacher to ask veteran teachers questions, which can then affect the students if the new teacher is unsure of themselves or the material. Discipline should be dealt with harmoniously first and foremost, and if the problem proceeds, it should be dealt with using stricter and harsher punishments. An authoritarian style of discipline should never be the first step ever. School pride should be important. It's okay to love your school, but don't let the school pride get in the way of asking for the support and the respect you need, even if it upsets administration or other staff. And the last question is, what is the social significance of students learning? A child who learns is a child who can change. If we can create a passion for learning in every child, we can create a very bright future for the world. Oh my God. We must create a positive learning environment to show that learning can be a positive thing so that the child will want to continue pursuing an education. If we create a love for learning, we can create doctors, nurses, good politicians, and even more educators. Thank you.